Well, this is our time, and isn't it wonderful? Warm weather's back. We finally got summer. Well, this is our time for an opening prayer treatment. So if you want to relax a little, just put your feet on the ground, on the floor, and just take a deep breath. And just put all your troubles outside the front door. And be here in this moment with me, and know with me. There is only one presence and one power, one life, God's life. This omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresence. In the eye of whom I speak is you when I say that I am one with it. I am one with this unlimited power, this unlimited source. I am one with God. It's all good, it's all God, it's God's life right here, right now, where I am. So my source is unlimited, so I am unlimited. And I know that God is money in action, and God is always acting in my life. I have money to share, money to spare. God is unlimited and always giving me all that I need. So I say, yes, I am open and available to new ideas, ideas of perfect health, ideas of unlimited wealth, ideas of perfect loving, sharing, caring relationships, ideas of creativity. So I raise my vision. I look up unto the hills. I look up because I am a greater being. I accept new ideas. I accept a greater consciousness, a consciousness for good. I say yes to all my good, and today I know that I am blessed. So I give great gratitude for all that unfolds in my life of good. So with great gratitude, I release my word. I know it's acted upon and spoken. I know it is so. And together we say,
And
so it is.
That was good.
Oh, thank you. I try to keep them short, but sometimes I get up there, it happens. Welcome everyone, it's good to see you all. And we have a very hungry congregation. We have lots of food today. So
That's even better.
today is Potluck Sunday, and feel free, if you didn't bring something, we always have more than enough. So please stay for fellowship. I want to give a great big thank to Rick, our musician.
God morning, everybody. Isn't it a great day? Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet packed. the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw flame. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
That was very good. Very good.
Good morning, I'm Reverend Maureen, the Bishop, and I welcome you all to the Carlsbad Center for Spiritual Living. And it's my pleasure to welcome you. Just a reminder, if you haven't already stunned or set on quiet your phone, please do that. We are a group that believes there's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. And we come together to teach, demonstrate, and inspire a positive spiritual approach to living. And now it's time to ask Perla to come up. Perla.
Just in time.
Just in time.
We're putting my food out.
Oh,
Sorry.
I told you we're a hungry congregation. We love food. We love food. Thank you. So we light a candle for life. Life is everywhere present, flowing through each and every one of us. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is our life now. So please affirm and say with me, I am life. We light a candle for love. The birth of love happens within each one of us every time we make room for the Christ consciousness in our hearts and we recognize our unity. We're points of love within the heart of God. Please affirm and say it with me. I am love. We light a candle for light. The light of God is the presence of the power. We're always walking in the light. We radiate the light of God wherever we are. Please affirm and say with me, I am light. I am light. Okay, we light a candle for beauty. Thank you. We're made in the likeness and image of God. We are each whole, complete. I'm whole and complete and beautiful, just the way we are. Without feedback, thank you. I accept the beauty of God's perfection as our perfection now. So affirm with me and please say, I am beauty. I am beauty. We light a candle for joy. Joy is the very nature of spirit and the true essence of each of us. We celebrate the joy of our own rebirth in God consciousness. We each bring joy to the world, so please say with me, I am joy. And lastly, we light the candle for peace Today and every day, we open our hearts to peace. We're each a center of peace in this world. So please say with me, I am peace. And finally, I invite you just to take a moment and recognize your own inner light that is always shining within. Take a moment to honor your metaphysical path of wholeness, oneness, and mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Thank you, Verla. Let's see. Oh, not yet. I have a few announcements. A couple of announcements. If this is your first time, please sign our guest book and join us for fellowship afterwards. We have a regular bookstore and we have a wonderful used book area. It's Potluck Sunday and we welcome you all to stay afterwards. Every Sunday, the ministers and practitioners are here for you to do spiritual mind treatments. So just a show of hand, who is here and can do a spiritual mind treatment today? Thank you, thank you.
Is there more?
Also, you can fill out a written request back there on the table. If you would rather a group prays for you this week, feel free to do that. And we're having good demonstrations every day, every week. Thank you. So other reminders, I just want to say thank you to our volunteers who are here for us today. Flowers, Morgan McGregor. That's gorgeous. I don't know what that is.
From my yard.
Your yard. I want to thank Martha Up for greeting. Treats, all of us.
Hello.
Yay. All of us. Candle lighting for Ola. Thank you.
Thanks,
I want to thank Larry for the video recording, Jan for the bookstore, and Angel who does our setup. And if you'd like to be a volunteer, I have a list, I have a sign-up sheet. So our group reading, let's say together, a group reading inside your program. God is all both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect love and perfect abundance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect abundance. So let's stand for a song.
Y'all sing out like good Methodists now. Oh, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more trouble, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. Oh, I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God.
going to follow that one, Larry?
He'll follow it, don't worry about it.
So I would like to invite our practitioner, Larry, to give today's reading.
Oh, am I supposed to read? The reading this morning is taken from our Science of Mind devotional booklets, in which not only is there a daily devotion and affirmation for the month, but there also are various articles. And this is one of the articles in October of 22 by Reverend John Waterhouse, who has held many positions of leadership in the Science of Mind Church or Centers for Spiritual Living. Our true prosperous nature. Okay. I woke up this morning and I thought, is this Sunday? I lost time for some reason, I don't know. And I just read this over once this morning, so I figured, forgive me. One of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes comes from The Science of Mind, where he writes, "Nothing is real to us unless we make it real." He uses this statement to explain the wondrous awakenings of infinite mind within us all. And I totally agree. However, as a metaphysical principle, the idea of what we make real has even broader implications. If we are indeed the creators of reality, then every aspect of our reality is our creation. Making things real, such as the state of health, the value of relationships, our ability to prosper, and everything else we express and experience, creates our pathway through life. By accepting something as real, that reality becomes foundational to who we are and all that we do. This means that if we make the real world as a place where an abundance of good must flow to and through our lives, this is exactly what happens. Conversely, if we see our lives as an endless series of challenges with which we must struggle to attain anything of value, then the challenges continue unceasingly, resulting in disappointment and defeat. We may say, "Look and see what's happening. I didn't do that. Clearly, that's not true." If a circumstance, situation, person, place, or thing exists in our lives, then we have created it. It is not about blaming anyone for anything. It is powerful acknowledgement that if we're impressed upon infinite mind something we don't desire, we can use it equally to create something better. I am not suggesting we can live without challenges. Rather, that whatever stands before us is not our enemy, but instead it is that which calls us to rise above by remembering that as infinite mind, we can build a life that aligns with our dreams, desires, and all good things. When we learn to reject realities that do not serve us and embrace our prosperous nature in all we think, say, and do, what results is a life filled with meaning, purpose, rich rewards that will exceed our wildest imaginings.
Thank you, Larry. And before we have another song, I wanted to mention that Reverend John Waterhouse is one of the speakers down at the Convention of the Americas that I'm going to in 2 weeks, the first week in August, down in Chapala, Mexico. So I'll be able to see him and meet him firsthand. I'll let you know how the convention goes. Thanks.
Well, a very wise man once said, "Fear not, little flock. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." And that kingdom can be prosperity, it can be wholeness and health, it can be anything you want. And in my case, this morning it was this song that came to me from on high many, many years ago. It's called "Everything I Have Is Yours." And it's heaven when you are clear, but to get there you have to be here and now. You hold the key to everything, but what will you do when you hear the angels sing, "Everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine"? All the treasures of the world, and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it inside. You pick your life, it's up to you. I give you all. When you give to each other, thou art my child, I am in thee. So why are you empty when your life is full of me? 'Cause everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. All the treasures of the world, and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it inside. Now you are here, but to stay here, you must be aware of who you really are. You are the key that opens the door. So open your mind and find out what life is for. 'Cause everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. All the treasures of the world, and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it. Everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. The sun and moon and all the stars, and every single thing that shines in this universe belongs to you. And all you really gotta do is decide to accept it. It's up to you, my beloved. All you gotta do is let it in, accept it.
beautiful waltz. It is our time for the main speaker.
Yay!
So I want to introduce Reverend Kate DuVivier. She'll be talking to us today about prosperity as a spiritual practice. So give her a big hand.
Okay, hopefully, are we getting feedback? Are we good? Okay, well, just start waving your hands and our microphones get out of hand. I turned them up a little bit this morning because they were kind of quiet, but I might have overdone it, so let us know.
It's fine.
Well, I wrote a talk, and then, well, of course, while I was sitting there, I thought, oh, wait, I want to change the beginning. So I thought I would share with you, because I am a minister, and most of you think of me as, you know, someone who studies science of mind. But before that, I have been in business for my whole life, in agriculture and in construction and the home selling business and commercial real estate. And during that time, it's interesting to me that after I started studying science of mind with my mother, who founded this center, I actually was studying to become a practitioner and maybe a minister way back in the 90s. And suddenly I was like, well, I think I'm not going to be a minister. I think I'm going to go get my master's in business administration instead. And so that's what I did. And so it's a different avenue of studying prosperity. So there's the nuts and bolts of how do you manage your money, how do you run a business, how do you get a good job, how do you do this or that. And then there's something else, and this is what I want to talk about today, which I think underlies everything, and that is the idea of allowing prosperity to actually be your spiritual practice. So when we say prosperity, of course, money is included. Money is nothing but a medium of exchange, nothing more. Money's good. It's not bad, but prosperity includes so much more. Prosperity includes all of the things, the experiences and the emotions that make up our lives, that allow us to live what we call living the life abundant. So a lot of times we talk about the word abundance, and we talk about the word prosperity, and we see them as two different things, but they're not. Prosperity is an aspect of our spiritual natures. And when we think about prosperity, it's not only about money, it's about living this life abundant. So taking our subject today as using prosperity as a spiritual practice, looking at how we can do that, I can tell you in just a couple of sentences, all you have to do is recognize the pre-existent truth that there is already good for you, and just accept it as your truth now. That's it, right? Of course, being human beings, it's like, well, that's fine to say, but how do you really manage that, I mean, the statement that Jesus said, it's done to you as you believe, it's like just a few words, but putting it into practice can be a lifelong activity. It just sounds so simple, and yet at the same time it sounds really difficult. So in the Science of Mind textbook that our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote, if you go like towards the back, not all the way in the back, but if you go all the way back to part 5, he actually spends quite a lot of time talking about one particular story that I think demonstrates some of these concepts about prosperity. And it's simply the parable of the prodigal son. Well, I have used the parable of the prodigal son before in talks. I think that it is a great story to read, and if you have the time, I urge you to dig out your Science of Mind textbook and read all of what he had to say. But I just want to hopefully go over the main highlights. So some of what I'm going to say now is taken from the words of Jesus as written down in the Bible, and some of that would be from the Science of Mind textbook itself. So the story begins like this. A certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. Give me my inheritance." And the father did it. Holmes explains that in this, the father, on a metaphysical way of speaking, the Father represents really the universal spirit. When we say our Father, we're talking about this divine universal spirit. And he says that the 2 sons represents our 2 states of consciousness, conscious mind and unconscious mind. And of course, the younger son would possibly be representing, I don't know if you could say the unconscious mind, just living in the world of conditions without a lot of thought. So the father, representing universal spirit, gave his son exactly what his son asked for. Nothing more, nothing less. The son's, what Holmes called the cup of acceptance, was filled from the universal horn of plenty, and then he was free to do with it as he chose. That's what it means. The father had 2 sons. One asked for his inheritance now, and the father said, "Fine, here it is." So the story goes on, and then not many days after, the younger son gathered his inheritance together, and he took a journey off into the far country, and there wasted his substance in riotous living. Not too far-fetched, is it? We might have done something like that ourselves, yeah. Now, metaphysically speaking, Holmes tells us the far country is not a place at all. The far country represents a state of feeling separate from the universal spirit, from feeling separate from this divine oneness, or in the story, his father. And so when it says, and then he wasted his substance with riotous living, it goes on, and then when he had spent it all, so he was broke, everything was gone, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. He was just broke. Now, Holmes explains, this is saying, when we separate ourselves from life, from a sense of our oneness, our connectedness with spirit or with life, when we separate ourselves from the idea of spiritual wholeness, we actually become exhausted. Spiritually, physically, we become depleted because we're kind of out. It's not like we're so much out on our own, but we've shut down. We've shut down the doors. Close the doors. And this is also why Jesus said that he could do nothing of himself. Holmes said Jesus could work his works only as the currents of divinity ran through his personal mentality. The currents of divinity, that subtle something that we refer to as the thing itself. This is how Jesus went. He moved into a state of complete oneness with Spirit. So anyway, going further, the prodigal son began to be in want. He felt needy. I don't have anything. So the son went and he joined himself to a citizen of that country, the land of faraway land, and the person that he worked for sent him out into his fields to feed the swine. So he got himself a job. And of course, in that era, feeding swine was a very low-level job, which I always object to since I used to be a hog farmer. That's just whatever, that's life. So anyway, the son, though, had this job feeding the hogs, and he was so hungry, he wished that he could even fill his belly with the husks that the hogs were eating, and no man gave unto him. No man gave unto him. Nobody helped him out. Now Holmes explains this is very important, that no one can actually give us anything but ourselves, right? We have to be willing to accept it. And no one can rob us but ourselves, and we rob ourselves by our unwillingness to accept. Because the Father's house is always open, but we have to be willing to enter it on our own. So then the story goes, and then when the son came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger. It's like, I know I could have stayed home, they've got everything, what am I doing out here? Hungry. Now Holmes calls this the Great Awakening, the moment of awakening. And I think it's interesting because, I've read the story in the textbook many times. I've read his explanation, but until I was working on this particular talk, I missed this sentence. He said, this part of the story represents the moment in which each one of us is living right now. This moment of awakening is our moment that we are actually going through constantly, moment after moment. It's in this moment that we're constantly asking ourselves this question. Well, if I know there's abundance in the universe, why isn't it in my life? This moment, this is like our story, because don't we all know that deep inside there's a truth that the universe is unlimited? I mean, all you have to do is look at the stars at night, and you're like, whoa, it's as unlimited as I could conceive of. It's abundant, it's extravagant, it's lavish. Nothing can be taken from it or added to it, really. It's in expansion. And Holmes tells us, reminds us that creation is the play of life upon itself. The prodigal, in this case ourselves, right, must simply awaken and realize that he is going without because of the series of decisions that he has made, because of the situation that and we can do like the prodigal. So the story goes on, the prodigal then arose and went to his father, started back on the journey to his father, and while he was still quite a ways off, his father saw him and felt a feeling of compassion and ran and grabbed his son and hugged him and kissed him and welcomed him. So this is the part of the story that I always got before, which was when we turn to spirit, the result is instantaneous. There's no waiting. It's not actually a long journey. It's right here. The moment we turn our thinking towards this is an abundant universe, suddenly it's an abundant universe. We begin to see, aha, there's so much good. So this moment of seeing, this moment of realizing, is the moment in which what we call a healing takes place. It's the moment when we realize, when the truth is revealed to us through us. That is the actual moment of healing. Now, it might take a while for things to get squared around in our everyday lives, but that's just a natural process. The moment of healing is the moment when we understand the truth. So then it's interesting, the son says, oh, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe. Give him a ring, put a ring on his hand, give him a robe, put shoes on his feet, bring here the fatted calf, and we'll have a big feast, and we're going to be merry, we're going to be happy because my son was lost and now he's found. So the father never condemned his son. There was no moment of retribution. He didn't have to get down on his knees and do 1,000 penances or whatever. There was no idea of sin. It was like, wow, here you are. You were lost and we found you. How would you feel if you had a child who was lost and you found them? Wonderful. Great. It's a celebration. Now, Holmes says, metaphysically speaking, it's an illustration of the truth that God, this universal spirit, doesn't even know evil, cannot conceive of evil in any form because God is love. God doesn't have to forgive. There's nothing to forgive. God doesn't have to forgive. We might have to forgive ourselves. But the divine givingness of spirit simply is love. That love is constant. And it is beyond judgment. It knows only good. So Holmes said, the prodigal son remained a prodigal as long as he chose to. When he chose to, he returned to his father's house and was greeted with outstretched hands. So will we. We will have the same experience. When we return to knowing that the world is perfect, something will turn to us. We will behold a new heaven and a new earth, not in a far-off place, but here and now. As Jesus said, act as though I am and I will be. The Spirit of truth will lead us all into good. This is the high road to the fulfillment of our lives. This is the high road to that feeling of abundance and prosperity, is recognizing, seeing it. It was the son's responsibility. It was the son's ability to make a choice, to have a decision. He had to decide to wake up. So in his case, he was a son who went out, he had a lot of experiences, and got, so to speak, kicked into recognizing this is not for me, I want something better, something more. And he woke up. And if you read, the rest of the story and the rest of the chapter, which I'm not going to go further with, there's this whole argument, because back at home there was this other son who never left, right? How did he feel? Well, I did everything you wanted, and I was the good son, and hey, he's been gone, and he lost all his money and everything, and why do you give him a robe and shoes and a ring? What about me? Don't I get something special? And of course, that's not the way it works. If it's a world of abundance, it's a world of abundance. If it's a world of good, it's a world of good. It's not winnowing us out, picking this and that. The acceptance of good is our choice, and we can do it at any time. So I just wanted to share that because while I think many people in our teaching often talk about prosperity as a practice of manifestation, of how to actually take steps to ensure that you have enough money, that you have these things in your life. I think that once in a while we need to step back and think about the underlying idea of prosperity. It is actually, it's not just our birthright, it's our responsibility. It's something that we can be engaged in as part of our awakening to the magnificence of life itself. It's just not about how much stuff we have, although if you came to my house, you might think I thought it was. But no, it's just when I said all we have to do is awaken to the pre-existent truth that life is abundant and that life is our home. Within us is this home of good. And we can become willing to feel so at home within ourselves that actually the feelings of limitation kind of dissolve. They don't bother us anymore. And it could be in many different aspects of our life. What I say about prosperity, what you might think about money, it's also true about health. When you see the good in your life, then that is what you experience. So, let's see. Well, I think that what happens to us is that we get caught up. I mean, this is a life where we're supposed to be caught up, right? There's a lot to do. We get busy and we have a lot of experiences, and sooner or later, or I can speak for myself about 1,000 times a day, we drift off into the far land, right? We just do, and I mean, we do feel alone or limited, or this is wrong or that is wrong. In that moment, every time you have that feeling, say, I feel alone, it's like, that's the moment in which to affirm, no, I'm never alone. Spirit's right here with me. And I do have friends. I mean, you just need to look around this room. We're friends. This is a group of friends.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, the experience of not being prosperous isn't necessarily just something that we made up ourselves, right? It could be that we got this from our culture as we were growing up. A lot of times it is. They grew up hearing money is the root of all evil, things like that, or that there really isn't enough to go around, that anything I take, I'm taking away from someone else, or they're taking away from me. But for most of us who have been studying the science of mind, we understand that it's just a matter of some of these habits of thinking that we might have acquired, either through what we were taught or through the different experiences we have had that cause us to drift away from the truth into a place of limitation. So all we have to do is remind ourselves that we're not talking about a get rich quick scheme with religious science. You know, that's not the point at all. Even Holmes says, well, if everybody had everything they wanted all at once, it could be kind of a nightmare. You know, we need a harmonious, we need to get in the harmonious flow of a life abundant. Because prosperity is a practice, a way to work together and to work independently to bring greater possibilities and happiness into our experience individually and together. Riches in a beautiful world result from the harmonious application and understanding of the ideas of this consciousness of supply. Everything we experience, the substance itself, is made from spirit one way or another, because there's nothing else. So, you know, even if you grew up poor or homeless or had some kind of deprivation, or if you ever lost a job or had financial struggles, if something ever happened to you that made you feel unworthy, or if you ever did something that made you feel unworthy, remember the prodigal son story is your story. And right now, it's time to awaken that you're not simply made in God's image, but you're actually made of the God stuff itself. This, my Father's house, is the kingdom within. And when we go within with self-love, and when we interact with the without, with each other, with the world, with, you know, great love, good has to unfold, abundant life has to unfold. So that's kind of my ideas that I wanted to share with you about practicing prosperity as an actual spiritual practice, getting centered into recognizing the life abundant. I did want to also just add a couple of practical ideas, things that can maybe help with it, go beyond the idea of it as just kind of amorphous. So that's nice, great idea. So, what tools do we have in our toolkit? Well, in order to feel prosperous and accept this, you can use simple affirmations. Simply saying, I am enough, there is enough, or I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. Anything you want. Now, we have talked many times about making a gratitude list. What about making an abundance list? This is where you simply sit down with a paper and pencil and you just begin noticing everything around you in the room or if you're outside. Everything as an example of abundance. Oh, there's an abundant quantity of chairs in this room. There's abundant air, there's abundant light. You know, just notice it. Just write an abundance list. It shifts you into seeing that this is a universe full of supply. The other thing is what I'd call a new thought list. Let's get some new thoughts going. So in this case, you'd write one list of what you don't want to see in your life anymore. You know, these are the things that, you know, like not having food. The prodigal son, he didn't have food, he didn't have a job, like those things you don't want. And then just take a single line, draw through each one, and then write what it is you'd like to see instead. I don't like my job, I don't want it anymore. Cross that out. Affirm, I have a new wonderful job. Write that on the list. So you end up with a list of crossed out and a list of new thoughts that you want to focus on. And then this is something that I have done, and so I'm gonna suggest it. It's kind of crazy. You know, we do visualizations, treasure maps. People say put a post-it on your refrigerator, cut out a picture from a magazine. So when it comes to prosperity, I've tried this, so I'll share it with you. I've tried it and it worked. So what you do is if you want a certain amount of money, like let's say you want $10,000. So you get 10 coins and you put them in a glass jar and you just set it on your desk or next to your toaster, wherever you want. And it just helps you remember when you see that jar. It's like, oh yeah, I'm making way for this prosperity in my life. So when we do these practices, there's nothing magical about it. What we're doing is we're just training our thoughts. We're just allowing ourselves to find ways to open the door to more prosperity. In a way, you could say there's no shortcuts, but in another way, at the same time, I have to say there is no obstacle in the healing, the movement from the far country to the home, the sense of being totally supported, is something that we can do in a moment. It is instant. We shift into feelings of good. And of course, the final one that I want to mention is spiritual mind treatment. I think it's different from all the visualizations. Treatment is a real practice that allows us to experience that shift. When it's difficult, we ask someone else to do a treatment for us. If it's easy, we can just treat for ourselves. We have instructions in the lobby if you want to do it yourself. We also have the sign-up list in the lobby if you would like someone to treat for you. Because treatment is just knowing the truth about you, about ourselves, and the truth is, it's all good. It's all good.
So it's really good. Now here he comes. Oh, look at that piece of equipment.
Hog farmer. A Renaissance woman. Yes. Well, the prodigal son story reminded me of a guy who told me once, 5 years ago I had $2 million. I spent 3/4 of it on women and booze. The rest I squandered. So he was living high, and so I decided to do a song about a different kind of living high by Jason Mraz called Live High. Try to picture a girl through a looking glass. See her as a carbon atom. See her eyes and stare back at them. See that girl as her own new world. Though her home is on the surface, she is still a universe. Glory God, our God is peeking through the blinds. Are we all here standing naked, taking guesses at the actual date and time? Oh my, justifying reasons why is an absolutely insane resolution to live by. Live high, live mighty, live righteously, taking it easy. Live high, live mighty, oh, live righteously. I try to picture a man to always have an open hand. I see him as a giving tree, see him as matter. Matter of fact, he's not a beast, no, not the devil either. Always a good deed doer. And this laughter that we're making after all, the call of the wild is still in order nationwide. In the order of the primates, our politics are too late. Oh my, the congregation in my mind is an assembly singing of gratitude, practicing good loving and truth. Live high, live mighty, oh, live righteously. righteously. Taking it easy, live high. Oh, live mighty. Oh, live righteously. And sing it out and just take it easy. And celebrate the malleable reality. You see, nothing's ever as it seems, yet this life is still a dream. Lift me up to be almighty. Raise your hands and start technology. If you're living it righteously, then you're taking the easy way. Just take it easy, live high. Oh, live mighty, live righteously. Taking it easy, live high. Oh, live mighty, oh, live righteously. Just take it easy, live high. Oh, live mighty, mighty, mighty. Oh, live righteously. And just take it easy.
That was very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. It's so great to have you here. It's kind of like a demonstration of abundant living, having you with us today. So right now it's our time to show our support for this Center of Spiritual Living. And so if you would like to take your offering in your hands, or if you use Venmo or send a check or payment in the mail, just take it in your minds. And you know, one of the things I didn't talk about tithing, but just give what you feel like. Whatever you're in the mood for. Just support the center however you want. I know that we've all brought, or many of us have brought a lot of nice food today, and it's just so great to be together. Really nice. So let's just know together the truth for one moment that there is enough. There's enough for the center. There is enough for each of us in our individual lives. We have enough to eat. We have wonderful homes. We have great transportation. We have wonderful relationships. We have wonderful friendships. We have wonderful wardrobes. We live in a wonderful country. We live in a beautiful, beautiful world, in a magnificent universe. And every breath is a breath that demonstrates the beautiful atmosphere of good in action in our bodies themselves. There is enough, and I give thanks that it is so, and invite you to join with me in claiming it to be true by saying, and so it is. Thank you. I'll let Rick lead us in a song that's in your program.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
So I just want to remind everyone that We're having our potluck today. If you brought something cold that might be in the refrigerator, that suddenly seems to have disappeared, the refrigerator is on. And Reverend Dr. Lori, would you like to give our closing treatment? So nice to have you with us.
Yes.
It was wonderful, by the way. So what I know about Carlsbad Center for Spiritual Living, I'm putting together a brochure for the Parliament of World Religions. We're taking the gratitude wells there. And I just felt so grateful this morning and so amazed at this community. I believe more than we counted, I'm not sure, but almost 10 wells. That I think it's abundant and it's contagious and it's joyful. The joyful giving, it's been contagious and it's been abundance. And I'm really grateful for this, that you've blessed these people in India. There was even a testimonial from one of the villagers that had said that for generations and generations, they only drank from rainwater that was filled with mud, and the water was contaminated. A lot of the people had disease and they were dying, and the animals went into the water and contaminated it. And they talked to the government and they wouldn't listen to them. And now they have these clean water wells, and they can share it with their neighbors, and they can get rid of all the diseases in their life, and they can go on living a greater and abundant life. So because of you and your abundance and your consciousness. So thank you. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within as I recognize this abundant, joyful, contagious community that knows nothing but God, always turning towards God in every single moment of their lives, knowing there's only one life, and that life is God, and that life is good, and that life is abundantly gracious in all ways, in health, in wealth, in prosperity, and giving and receiving and opening to the universal divine flow. And so we are blessed today to have Reverend Kay give us such a beautiful talk about the prodigal son, knowing that we are all facing the divine in every single moment in our lives, knowing that we never fail. We can always turn towards God, and God will always turn towards each and every one of us, whether it has to do with claiming the truth about our health, or our wealth, or our wholeness, or our friendships. Whatever it is that we are struggling with today, we know we have to struggle no longer because we claim this divinity that continues to flow into our lives. And I am just grateful for this this powerful community. And I know that each and every person here takes this lesson out into the world and looks at others with the eyes of the divine, knowing that each and every person has all their needs met now. And I just release my word into the law of mind as we rejoice in our potluck and prosperity, and so it is.
So it is.
That was great.
So we have a song.
All rise.
All rise. It's on the back of your program.
Open your heart, let your love go free, out over the ocean, right across the street. Let it flow like a river, let it fly like a dove, till your heart remembers you can't stop love. Once you get it started, watch what it does. It'll go full circle. You can't stop love. Open your heart, let your love go free, out over the ocean, right across the street. Let it flow like a river, let it fly like a dove, till your heart remembers you can't stop love. Once you get it started, watch what it does. It'll go for